What's up out there? Yesterday we got the big reveal for 3.25 Settlers of Kalguur, and this is going to be an absolute banger of a league. When I got done watching that, the was 45 minutes or an hour's worth of presentation, I sat and watched some of the about an hour's worth of Q&A too, but I was just kind of speechless. I didn't know what to say. I was going to do a video yesterday, and I was just, my mind was racing with all the changes. Like, we kind of knew that they were changing totems and stuff like that. We kind of had an inkling that melee was getting changed, which I always found it kind of weird that they kept saying they couldn't do anything with melee because it had to do something with the animations and stuff like that. And it's like, well, why don't you just retool what you've got, which is what they've done. I just found that weird. It came up when something about when they were talking about PoE 2 and why they couldn't rework melee. It was in a conversation. It was kind of an odd answer that they couldn't do animations. I don't care about new skills. I just redo the ones you've got. And they did. They finally did. They've just completely blown that out of the water. So the initial impressions that I have are this is going to be an awesome league. This is going to be a phenomenal league. I instantly want the hiring of NPCs for either mapping or the trade routes or something like that. I want that in the game. I love that. As an SSF player, I think those are phenomenal additions. With both Affliction and Necropolis, as an SSF player, that's the way I play the game for the most part. I've had a great time getting currency. Like, I've had zero currency issues. I've not really had any complaints in the currency department in the last two leagues at all. And this next league looks like it's going to be just a continuation of that. And I think that is phenomenal. Now, that said, I think I am going to play Trade League because you can trade currency like a Grand Exchange from RuneScape or a flea market from Escape from Tarkov. I like that idea. That's the one thing. Just getting, I don't care about trading gear and stuff like that, but trading currency and just being able to put it up and just walk away from it and get the results when it's done is awesome. That's what I would want from a trade perspective. I don't care about trading gear, so I'm not worried about that. But the fact that you can trade anything, they said anything stackable, I think is going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I actually will take part in Trade League because I do go into Delve, and I was watching a few videos over the last, since yesterday and today both. I've been watching people talk about it, and a lot of sloppy leftovers you get from like Delve or I don't know, whatever other league mechanics you're playing that offer some kind of currency or something that's stackable. You can trade all that stuff off. So I think I'm going to do that because then I could trade off and get like currency that I want out of it and just get rid of the crap that I'm not going to use. Because I rarely ever do any Delve crafting. And, you know, if there's extra essences or something like that, like there's so much you can trade off. So I'm looking forward to that. As far as the league mechanic that they've got, the Settlers League mechanic, this looks phenomenal. It reminds me of the city builder aspect, reminds me of RuneScape 3. There was a little town section you had to build, or Melvridal. I'm playing that right now. There's a whole township section in there you got to build out. They're different, but the concept of it just looked the same as those two games of the city building portions of both of those. I thought it was awesome. The NPC map runners, when they started, you could have three different portals with stacks of maps loaded up. I was like, dude, I want that. I want that in the game permanently. I loved that. The trade routes looked really cool. The rune crafting, like they just kept going. They added recombinators into it, which is cool. I like that concept there. Respecking with gold, I'm always respecking stuff. So being able to swap that out with gold is going to be really cool. Currency trade, yeah, the new bosses, all that stuff. It all looked just, so good. Then after that, they just didn't stop. They just kept giving out more, all the changes that we've got with the Gladiator rework. I definitely want to try that out. There's a couple bleed build I did a couple of leagues ago I'd like to revisit. The Warden and the tinctures and stuff, that looks awesome. I really want to. The one thing when we did Affliction League, I don't remember what the ascendancies were called, but you had the one with the little side panel that you could store stuff in. That's the one I always went to because you could store stuff. The tinctures look cool, but I could store stuff and have extra stash space, you know. I was like, this is the one I went with. Now that we get this with tinctures off on their own and a whole new ascendancy, I am on board. I want to go check that out. I want to do a build for that. All the melee buffs and stuff they talked about. The league mechanics, the Sentinel and the Affliction stuff. I'm a little disappointed with the Calandra thing. I really wish they would have put the Calandra, the not just the mirror thing, but like the hex mapping portion of it. I really like that. When we had that throwback level, that's the only time I've ever gotten to play it because I wasn't playing PoE when Calandra was out. But I love that mapping mechanic. I thought that was really cool looking. I wish they'd have brought that back in. The mirror thing is cool and all, but I really would have liked to have seen the mapping portion of it in there. All the different chisels they've added, I thought that was really cool. I kind of want to do Blight now. They've added so many things for Blight. Or I shouldn't say so many things, but Blight looks enticing to me. It looks like there's a really cool reason to go run a bunch of Blight. One of the things that I didn't catch, and I looked it up, but I saw somebody posting about it. Apparently, Riposte and Vengeance are gone. They've got all that retaliation stuff. So a lot of the changes that they've made, we're going to start transitioning over and talking about builds right now. But a lot of the transitions that they made, I need to see in game. I know we're going to get the POB updated soon. I saw a conversation on Reddit. They're working, burning the oil to get that thing up. And it sounds like maybe there's a beta version you could go look at or something, like maybe they have some of it. I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet. But once we get all that up, I've got a few builds that I want to plug into it and see how they change. And I really just want to see how the game plays, because it's one thing to read numbers on a sheet. It is another thing to actually play that build and say, yeah, I don't really like that skill, or yeah, this is really cool. So I want to actually get time with it. And I've been trying to figure out what build I want to use for starting out and, all that kind of thing. So I don't know. We'll talk about that here in a second, but I was kind of surprised that they got rid of Riposte and Vengeance. I was kind of looking forward to trying them, but it makes sense that they're putting all this retaliation stuff in. They took those out. So the builds that I want to use, there is so much changing that I don't need. Normally at this point, I would be trying to figure out what I wanted to play, and then I would league start it or something like that. Just try to do a trial run for it. I don't even know what changes we're going to get. And there's so many massive changes that I don't even almost feel like playing Path of Exile at this point. I've been playing all league up until now and trying to just practice, just work on crafting, work on making all my builds better, all that kind of stuff. But at this point, it's kind of like, I don't even want to play anything because there's so much changing, and everything on where I normally play on the passive tree is what's changing, because I'm more of a melee player, and I've been playing melee pretty much since I've came on. I've briefly moved over off into maybe the right and the upper right side, and I've ran a couple of witches here and there, but like for the most part, I'm running Juggernaut and stuff like that, or Marauder, and I don't know, maybe over into like the Pathfinder for a little bit, and ranged builds, whatever, Trickster a little off in that side. It's kind of that half of it. But I'm like, man, there is so much that I want to do. So for this league, this coming up league, I want to do Bone Shatter, definitely. I haven't decided if I want to league start that yet or not, but Bone Shatter's on the list. The Caustic Arrow build that I've got, Caustic Arrow Trickster that I've got, Exsanguinate Juggernaut I want to try. I also want to try Cobra Lash. In tinkering around with, I think it was Exsanguinate, I found Cobra Lash, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was either, I don't think it was the Caustic Arrow build. It doesn't matter. But I ended up finding Cobra Lash. I thought it was an awesome skill. I want to see what I can do with that. I did a Perforate Bleed build a couple of leagues ago with the current Gladiator. Actually, it was Slayer and then Gladiator. I bounced around all over the place, but I'd actually like to try the new Gladiator ascendancy that we've got coming in with Perforate. I think that'd be kind of cool, or something else. And then in the course of, I was tinkering around with Righteous Fire the other day. I found Fireball. I thought Fireball was a hell of a lot of fun, so I'd like to try that out. Sunder, various times that I've started characters, I've played with Sunder. I'd like to do something with that. And Ground Slam. I think Ground Slam's a cool skill. So I've got 8 skills that I would like to make builds around. So basically, this is going to be a build league. I'd like to take every one of those to level 90, 95, something like that. Bone Shatter, I'm pretty sure I could get to my usual spot with, where I normally beat the Eater and the Exarch. I still haven't beat the Maven yet or anything beyond that. But that's kind of just, and to be honest with you, I was kind of looking at making this a shortened league for myself, because there's a lot of cool games coming out starting in September, maybe even a little bit into October. There's some cool stuff coming out, and I wanted to just stop and make this a short league, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be a massive league, and I think I'm going to have a lot of builds going on. And every time I try a new skill that I like, I might try it out. But with all this rework that we've got going on, like there's so much changing that it's just making so many things look cool to try, you know, and I get a new skill or a new piece of equipment or something, and I instantly want to try a new build. And I've tried a lot of builds this league. I had a bunch of people that made it into Act 2, 3, something like that, and then I'd get bored with it and delete them, or they just didn't work out where I wanted it, so I deleted them. Next league, I think there's going to be a lot, and especially if I'm in trade league and I can just trade currency and get stuff when I need, I think that's going to be, I'm just going to be trying all kinds of different builds, whether they do good or not. I don't even care if they do good. Some of the most fun that I have in this game is playing the builds. But my league plans, as far as I can plan out, what I plan on doing, I'm more than likely going to start Bone Shatter. I'm kind of trying to decide whether I want to use that or Caustic Arrow. I do like that Caustic Arrow build I've got. It does clear things quickly, and it could get me into, I don't know how far into the late game I could get with it. You know, definitely white maps. I'm not sure if it'll go too far into yellow or red. Like the build that I've got now is getting into red, or it's mid red, a little bit later into red, but I don't know that it can fully go out to tier 16 and, you know, corrupt, all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure I can get that far. So I'm probably it's either gonna be Bone Shatter or Caustic Arrow. The Caustic Arrow build moves fast, and that's the reason I would league start it, because it's very quick and I could get through the campaign fairly quickly. I think I could probably get through the campaign in about 8 hours, maybe. I don't think I could do 6 hours, but 7 or 8 hours, something like that, especially with like 20% move speed or something like that, because you can get fairly quick on it. Bone Shatter is a little bit slower for me, although I'm starting to learn where to skip things in the campaign. But that said, I might go a little slower in the campaign. I'm not sure, but I want to get through the campaign, get my mapping done, and get the Eater and Exarch down in the first week or two to get that all done. I want to get the town set up, and then I just want to start trying builds. I don't necessarily care about, if I could get all these different builds up to tier 14 mapping, running tier 14 maps, that means I can keep working on Eater and Exarch currencies and stuff like that. That means I can progress Maven and stuff like that. That's kind of what I want to aim for. I'm not going to try to shoot for beating the Maven. I'm just going to try to shoot for doing the 10 ways that the Maven has and that kind of stuff. So I'm not really going to try to go too far out there, but just make it a little bit easier. Get this build up in, you know, take a build, get it up to level 91, 95, something like that, fighting the Eater and the Exarch. If they can beat those, then they're going to be what I would call a league starter. And even though I am going to be playing as SSF, I'll probably be in trade league just so I can get access to the traded currency. I really want to play SSF, but that ability to trade currency is just really cool looking to me. It's very appealing because it's like other games that I've played, like RuneScape, where you've got the grand exchange. You know, I don't have to talk to anybody. I can just put something up and it goes and sells, and that's it. And I think that's awesome. That's the reason why I would play Trade League, not for gear or anything, just the fact that I could go on and trade currency, and hopefully that stays and makes it into the main game. They said they want it to, but hopefully it does. So anyway, that's like, I am totally stoked. Friday can't get here fast enough. That's all I know. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of this expansion. I don't think anybody hates it. Maybe there's somebody that does because of all the melee changes, but man, it looks awesome. I love the fresh start that we get to this whole thing. It's completely changing so much. Like, I have a basic idea of what my Bone Shatter build's going to be, but I'm imagining that it's going to drastically change once we actually get there and can build stuff. So anyway, let me know what you think down below and what's your plans and everything. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.